The Elden Ring DLC added 8 new weapon types, and one of the coolest ones is the Perfume Bottle. So today, I'm gonna be beating all the DLC Remembrance bosses using only Perfumes. There are 5 different types of Perfume Bottles, which do pure elemental damage. There's a Fire Bottle found in the camp before Castle Ensis, Lightning near the Cerulean coast, Frenzy Flame in the Church in the Abyssal Woods, Frost in the Lamenter's Jail, and Poison purchased from Theolier. There are 2 unique Ash of Wars for Perfume Bottles. 1, Wall of Sparks, and 2, Rolling Sparks, which is completely broken. You'd have to watch the rest of the video to see how it absolutely melts bosses. I'm gonna be doing a lot more of these challenge runs in the coming days, so please make sure to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed. The first boss we do is the Divine Beast, who's pretty weak to fire. For the Fire Perfume build, I decided to use the Flame Shroud and Crack tier that boosts fire damage by 20%, and the Fire Scorpion Charm that boosts fire damage by 12.5%. The Frenzy Flame Perfume Flask does more fire damage than the Fire Perfume Flask at very high levels because of its 4 stat scaling, so that's what I decided to use for this fight. The fight for the most part is fairly simple. I punish whenever I get a chance, and wait for certain moves where I end up behind the boss for a big punish window. This fight is one of my favorite ones in the DLC, because of how you can strafe and jump over certain moves. I'm pretty bad at the storm version of the boss, because the hitboxes are bigger, but I managed to pull through. Rolling Sparks is extremely useful for this fight because of the larger hitbox of the boss, which means it takes more damage from the Ash of War particles. Oh my god, I'm so much fucking damage! Oh my god! What just happened? For the next boss, I head over to Bayle. Bayle is one of the tankiest bosses on this run, and even though he's technically not a Remembrance boss, I like to fight him on my runs because he's such a cool fight. Bayle isn't really weak to anything, so I decide to use the Lightning Perfume Bottle against him because of the high base damage it has. Rolling Sparks is still really good for bosses with a really large hitbox, so I use it to stagger him and then deal crazy amounts of damage on his head. Oh, phase 2 already, wow. A good tip against Bayle, especially phase 2 if you're struggling, is to stay at the wall of the arena when he's flying, because he'll hit the wall eventually and bounce off as he lands, giving you some free punishes. Yeah, I got a stagger here. Easy. After Bayle, I head towards the ruins of Unte, where we kill this specific flame basket guy, who drops the oil-soaked tear, which coats nearby enemies in oil for an entire minute, which lets them take 20% more damage from fire attacks, which will be useful later on. Wait, technically I can riposte with the Perfume Bottle, right? Wait, oh my god, you actually can't riposte. You know what? I don't need to. No, there's a pure run. There's a pure run. I'm not gonna sully the sanctity of it. Well, apparently I don't even need to, because he's fucking dead. Jori is one of the worst fights in the game, especially if you can't backstab him. This guy makes Gideon look like an amateur as he spams you down with his spells that track, but also summons adds to the fight. This fight is incredibly frustrating, and I'm thankful that I had tons of damage on this run to make it an easier experience than usual. Dude. Fuck off. Onwards to another boss weak to fire, the Scadutree Avatar. The Scadutree Avatar is a really cool boss in my opinion, and it's nice to see us finally getting a 3-phase boss. For my build, I go for the Frenzy Flame Perfume Bottle again for the massive fire damage potential, but this time I also use the Oil Soaked Tear for the extra 20% damage. With all of this combined, I completely destroy this boss, who only has around 7.5k HP per phase. The caveat being that I can't take the Repose because I'm using Perfumes, which would have been nice because the Repose lets him start the next phase with a little bit lower HP than normal. Overall, this is one of the fights where you can see the full potential of the Perfume build. I guess I must have missed. Fuck. Dude, okay. The next boss we face is Commander Gaius. Gaius is weak to Holy the most, but since we don't have a Holy Pot, I'm just gonna stick with Lightning. The fight for the most part is easier once you know how to punish and avoid his attacks, because I'm not lacking damage, but his combos do take a little getting used to. A big tip about this fight, if you're struggling with his charge, is to try light rolling into him instead of to the side, as you might find it easier to dodge the terrible charge he starts every attempt with. Oh my fucking god, he got stuck. Oh, I can just strafe that instead of rolling. That's so nice. GG. Boom. Once we're done with Gaius, we can get the 5 Scadu fragments for more scaling upgrades, and then we're off to fighting my personal favorite boss of the entire DLC, Messmer the Impaler. Messmer is such a cool fight, and there's so much focus on movement in this fight that it's very satisfying when you get a kill. Almost like you're fighting a Sekiro boss, like Genichiro. I use the Frost Perfume Bottle because of his weakness to magic, and try to punish whenever he gives me a good opportunity, though it's not too often. Rolled against it. Okay, nice. Phase 2 is actually way easier with this build because both the Snake and Messmer himself both take status damage, which means you can proc Frostbite on them both for a ton of damage. I also use the Flame Bottle here occasionally to reset the Frostbite whenever I get a chance, so that I can reapply the status as any fire damage removes the Frostbite proc. Ah, my timing on that is so poor. Punish? On what? Let's go! Once we're done with Messmer, I'm off to fight Rellana. Rellana has a lot of water in her arena, which reduces lightning defense by 10%. So obviously, we're gonna use a lightning perfume bottle. This fight is another one where movement is key, and there's a very cool strat where when she uses her magic stance Ash of War, you can stand right next to her and deal damage. Rellana is probably my favorite sister of the two. Easy. Nice! Next, we have probably a close second for when it comes to favorite bosses, right next to Messmer. We have Midra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Midra is such a well-done boss, all the way from the OST to the cutscene and the entire fight itself. Midra is weak to magic, so we use the Frost Perfume Bottle. There are a lot of cool strafes and even crouches you can do with this fight, but be careful because of the madness procs, because they deal a lot of damage and also completely deplete your FP. A very cool way to deal with a transition attack is similar to Millennia's Transition Flower, where you can run around him and spin him around so that you don't get caught in a corner against a big explosion. I almost threw again. Almost. Another incredible boss, the Putrescent Knight. I feel like I've been saying that a lot. Maybe I just like every boss of this DLC. I love the little callback to the Metyr arena, as well as the OST and the moveset of the boss too. This guy is really weak to Holy, but we're gonna be using the Lightning Bottle against him since we unfortunately don't have a Holy Bottle. The Putrescent Knight fight is fairly simple once you get the hang of his moves, and he doesn't have too much HP. I struggled with this fight a lot, especially the phase 2 transition, because I couldn't figure out how to dodge the magic trail attack he does. But I've learned that you can jump the trails and have a pretty okay time with dealing with them. Fuck! Okay, here we go. Are you right? Dude, I can't, man, I can't. I don't know how the fuck I dodged that. Just like blind. Another day, another run. Next, we go to the Mother of Fingers, Metyr. Metyr is another boss in a water arena, so we default to the Lightning Perfume Bottle again. This fight is so cool and feels like a little taste of Bloodborne from FromSoft, so that's nice to see. It's really cool visually, and the OST is really different too.
I'm not even doing the fucking cheese. It would do so much more damage if I aimed it at the ground. All right, let's figure out how to roll the laser, guys.
There's only one really miserable attack in phase 2, and that's the double laser she spawns. There's no real consistent way to just roll past it, so you gotta run away, but as you can see, the walls kind of ruined that, so it's a little hit or miss.
I've tried the whole walk between the laser and the boss attack. Oh no. Well, that's Metyr.
Onwards to the end game, and we're about to fight Romina, Saint of the Bud. Romina, being a rot-based boss, does take extra damage to fire, just like Malenia. And that's not all. She shares a lot of similarities with Malenia, even some parts of the OST. I also love how you can incorporate jump attacks to deal with her moves. Frenzy's Flame, Perfume, and Rolling Sparks, and she's pretty much done. Too bad they didn't give her more HP, because it's a really cool fight with some great visuals and moves.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone, you fuck. Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Clean. No! Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me! Easy.
I just wanted you guys to listen to the Malenia OST, alright? And of course, we're on to the gank fight of the DLC. Every FromSoft game needs one, and here we get a final battle between all the followers of Megala. I'm usually not a big fan of these fights for challenge runs, but I really felt it hit for some reason during my first playthrough. Just a culmination of every character's arc along with such a banger OST, it felt amazing. I used a Frenzy Flame bottle because we finally have a boss that we can proc Manus on, and not just use it for the damage. Leda, though, made things as hard as she could, as she has some insane Manus resistance.
I do appreciate the hitbox of that attack. They could have made it like awful. But you can dodge it fairly well. Oh, was that a Madness prop? I think it was. She took a lot of damage.
By way of apology, I will reveal the marrow of
Oh my god. Oh.
She really is crazy. GG's. So you can proc Madness on her. Her resistance must be fucking insane.
Before we stop by the final boss of the run, I make a stop at this flame basket from the start of the DLC to get one of my favorite items and something I use every time I go into the final boss fight, the deflecting heart tier. This tier lets you deflect a bunch of attacks for 0 damage, just like in Sekiro.
What is that I don't understand the fucking damage. Like, what is that? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't get it. Balance is all things should be, yeah. Imagine if falling over had a hitbox and it killed you. I'm actually so shocked that they didn't add a hitbox for it's falling over and killing you. That seems like what they would do, like, you know, for a it feels like a Miyazaki thing. And finally, on to the final boss, promised consort Radahn. Radahn is, to me, the hardest boss FromSoft has ever made. He moves kind of like a Sekiro boss while you're still stuck playing Dark Souls 1. He's got a ton of roll catch moves, not to mention the dreaded left-right cross. I used to deflect here quite a lot throughout this fight. First, to make sure I don't die to the left-right cross, but also to deflect the huge AoE explosion at the start of Phase 2 that lets you get a lot of punishes in because you don't have to run away. And you can even guard counter with the perfumes. They're crazy. Oh my god, you can guard counter! With the fucking perfumes.
I also decide to use the lightning perfume bottle for this fight because he's pretty much strong against everything in Phase 2 and it doesn't really matter in terms of weaknesses. There's a lot going on with this fight, especially in Phase 2, so it's kind of hard to break down. I can't see half the time, so a lot of it just comes with practice and experience.
This fucking fight. Oh, am I fucking dead? It seems like he lands the meteors where you, where he goes up from. Fuck! Okay. You fuck. You piece of shit. Wonder if I get a stagger here, maybe? If I'm lucky. You piece of shit. He did the other attack. So you see how I still take chip damage even though I'm like... Okay. Well, there it is. Let's go! Yeah, I set up the stagger for phase 2, and then you can just, like, kill him with it.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if so, please make sure to subscribe and check out some of my other runs.